Hey guys, welcome back to the Deep Woods Survival Podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am the host of this show. My background with survival and prepping and hiking, camping, fishing, all the stuff that this show is about, goes back all the way to my childhood, my early childhood. I was basically a what they called an Indian guides, and pretty much just been a Boy Scout since I was a little kid. Always kind of trying to create things out of twigs and stuff like that, doing primitive survival, trying to light fires with sticks and stuff, and had some success with it. But I find that a ferro rod or even a lighter is much easier. So, anyways, let's talk about emergency preparedness today. With everything going on around the world, this is not a political channel. We're not going to talk about politics or religion or this or that. It's going to be all about just basically outdoors, camping, hiking, survival, fishing, hiking, biking, anything having to do with outdoors and prepping too. Because at this point in time, if you're not prepping, you're probably going to be in trouble when everything does go to hell in a handbag. Anyways, so let's get back into emergency preparedness. We're going to talk about several different things that kind of can help you. And then I'll put you in my situation, and I'll talk about a situation that I might encounter. So let's start with EDC. What does EDC stand for? EDC is everyday carry, what you have on your person. As you can see, I have a pen in my pocket. I have a wet wipe, some wet wipes, and stuff in case I have to go to the bathroom somewhere. I carry what else do I carry in here? I carry a little tablet because I got to take notes for work. I carry a pen, chapstick. I carry stuff for my hearing aids because I am slightly hard of hearing. Of course, my cell phone, that's the biggest thing that you could basically use in a survival situation, as long as it has power and still works if there's not some kind of EMP or something going on. But your cell phone has so many different options for you to look up. You can go into Google, you can get onto Google Maps, you can get on Apple Maps, you can get on some kind of GPS. You can look up, I'm in this situation and basically I need to know this information off Google. You can watch videos, you can do all kinds of stuff to teach yourself basic skills that will help you survive in an emergency situation. But EDC is basically your first line of defense. So like I said, that's everyday carry. What do you carry on your person? And for females, you might carry a purse. I carry a bag, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then I have little pouches too that I carry with me. But I carry like a little boo-boo kit. I carry a fire starter usually. I carry a pocket knife. I'm going to be adding a fixed blade knife to my repertoire of things that I carry. Somebody said, hey, you really should be carrying a whistle, which I do have in my EDC bag, but I'm going to add that back to my everyday persons. I have a keychain that has maybe 50 things on it that's in my EDC bag. And I don't know if I've kept all that stuff, but I have like a can opener and all this other stuff. So let's stay on track here, Matt. So EDC on person. I carry a bandana. I carry chapstick, not only for lips, or if you get a scratch, you can put that on there to help keep that clean and whatever else if you don't have any salve or Vaseline or anything else and a bacterial that you can put on there. I also carry, like I said, wet wipes. I have, of course, my inhaler because I have stupid asthma. And then my wallet, of course. A lot of people carry little different things in their wallets, little cards and stuff that you can make, and you can pull them out and they're metal and they turn into arrows or fishing hooks and stuff like that. I don't have that. I figure I can fashion one out of the material around me. Our area kind of looks like what you see in the background here. It's very forested. There are a lot of water sources um, and stuff like that. So let's talk about EDC bags. What is an EDC bag? Basically, it's just stuff that doesn't fit on your person that you might want to carry with you every day. It might be a laptop. It might be your coffee mug. You might keep a bottle of water in there. On my personal EDC carry bag for work, I have two. I have a kind of a get home bag in the back of my car, but I drive for a living. I pretty much transport people from point A to point B. And so we're here in Texas. I'm all over the place. I'm all over Texas every night, almost every night. I travel quite a bit for work. Sometimes I'm 300-400 miles away from home. Sometimes I'm just a couple hundred or 50 miles or whatever, depending on what the situation is and what the people need. But so if I had to walk home, this EDC bag basically would help me get to that point. This is why I carry this, and I'll talk about this situation a little bit more in detail here in a minute, but I want to cover a couple of things. So in my EDC bag, change of clothes. I think I have another pair of jeans, a shirt, a couple of pairs of underwear, a couple of pairs of socks. I think I have some talcum powder in there in case my shoes get wet, and that'll help me hopefully try and dry them a little bit or keep my feet at least a little bit warm and dry if I just put it in my socks. And that's if my shoes are somewhat dry. I mean, if they're soaked, then there's no point in doing that. But multi-tool, carry that on my person. Flashlight, carry that on my person. I carry a rechargeable flashlight that I can just plug into a USB because I have access to that. I carry a little electronics kit, has multiple different types of USB plugins for everything from an iPhone to my headphones to my flashlight to anything else I need. I have all that covered. One of these days, if you go onto our YouTube channel, Deepwood Survival, basically you can go look on there and I already did an EDC, which is pretty much a pocket dump. Didn't have everything on me, but I had a lot of stuff. You can see more there. And then in the future, I will be putting out an EDC bag, at least my bag. Everybody's bag is going to be different. And by bag, I mean, it could be a briefcase. It could be a backpack. It could be a purse. You could carry a pouch with you. I know a lot of guys that carry little small 3x2 pouches. I have them. They're in our cars with stuff that if I had to I couldn't get anything else, I had to jump out the car right then there, I could just grab that. Has fire starting, has boo-boo kits, asthma stuff. I'm allergic to stinging insects, so it has EpiPens, just anything I might need if I needed it quickly. So essentially that's kind of what an EDC bag or pouch is. Like I said, it can consist of a coffee mug. It can consist of the bag itself could have a coffee mug. It could have a laptop. It could have a tablet. You could have your charging gear. You could have just papers for work. Very, very rare now for people to actually carry a bunch of paperwork with them. But like for me, I carry a clipboard for work because I have to write stuff down. So in that bag, if you're able to, I mean, some places you can't take certain things, but in that bag, if you were wanting to, and you're in a state where you can, and you have a license and stuff, maybe you carry a pew pew, or maybe you carry a knife or a multi-tool, or like a water filter. I have water filtration in my EDC bag. I have two. I have two Sawyer minis. I have the Sawyer Squeeze, where basically it just attaches that little pouch. The little filter attaches the pouch, and I can basically drink right out of there. Or I have the Sawyer water filter bottle, where I can just go to a creek or whatever. I'll probably take something and put it over the top of the lid and then fill it up so all the debris and crap doesn't get in there. Our water around here is pretty murky. It's pretty dusty, pretty soil. There's a lot of erosion that happens out here. So I would probably actually just dig a hole next to the creek that I'm trying to get through and let it sit for a few minutes and let the water clear a little bit, and then probably use the filter to grab some water and drink. But what else would go into an EDC bag? Extra pair of glasses. I carry a hat on my backpack. It just sits there. It's just an extra hat, or if I'm not wearing a hat at all, then I have that. Maybe you carry a case to fix your glasses. Maybe you have an extra pair of contacts. For the ladies, you might carry an extra pad or two. Anything that basically you might need if you're basically out and about and going to wherever, going to work, going to a friend's house, whatever you carry. I mean, a purse, of course, is going to have your wallet and all that other stuff if you're a female, or or if you carry a purse. I know there's some males that carry purses. So essentially, it's just anything that extra that doesn't fit in your pockets that you would carry with you. It can be anything. Every person's going to have a different EDC bag. Now, if you put 10 EDC bags together next to each other, I'm guessing you probably find maybe 50 or 60% of this stuff is going to be in each bag, meaning probably a cell phone, probably some keys, probably a wallet, or whatever. But an EDC bag can help you if you throw some extra items in there. Maybe you throw a can of tuna in there, or you throw in a pouch of chicken, or any kind of little food that you can keep, or snacks, a couple granola bars, gum, whatever you like, you can put into this bag. And basically it should just go with you wherever you go. And, don't make a huge bag. Don't make it, stand out. You don't want to stand out in a crowd when everything goes bad. But nowadays, I mean, especially around here, I mean, it's very hard to not see at least a couple, 3 or 4 people carrying a backpack in a crowd, if not more, especially because we're right down the way of the college. So and ADC also, we'll get into Great Man later on, but you kind of want to blend in when there's an emergency. See what everybody else is doing. Don't overreact. Figure out what you want to do and do what you need to do. So part of EDC is, what's in your car. If you got stranded, let's say, you're a couple 100 miles from home, maybe you went on vacation or whatever, and something bad like an EMP happens, or there's no gas, or something happens, could you survive in your car for a night or two or longer? Maybe you get caught in some kind of severe weather, a snowstorm, or you get caught into, maybe it's blazing hot, it's the summer. Do you have a way to charge your cell phone if you can't charge it through your car? Do you have a backup battery bank? That's what I carry, several of the little backup Anker batteries in my car, in my EDC bag, also in my get home bag. We'll talk about get home bags later, but I'll probably do what I'll do is I'll probably do a dump. I'll probably dump out all the contents of my EDC bag, and then I'll do the same with my get home bag that's in my car. But basically, what is in your vehicle? If you have an emergency, do you have water? Do you have some extra food in there? And by food, I don't mean you need to have, a pantry full, but maybe you have some granola bars or something that can withstand the heat because it's hot right now. Maybe not in your area, but it's very hot here. So like I'd have granola bars probably that don't have chocolate on them. I might have some extra chicken in cans. I might have an MRE sitting back there just in case if I had to throw it in my bag and go and I had to run, at least I'd have a food source for maybe a couple. I could expand out for a couple days. Do you have a way to fix a tire? Do you have tools to work on your own vehicle? Do you have the skills to work on your own vehicle? I'm still working on my skills. I'm constantly working on that, trying to figure out more about my car. How does it work? Well, how do I fix it if it gets broken? Anything from just changing a tail light to a headlight to I need to do an oil change on my own vehicle. How do I do all this stuff? If I need to replace this, do I know how to fix it? So your vehicle is very important because it could become a shelter for you, and it does for some people. Every year, I would imagine quite a few people end up in an emergency situation. May not be worldwide or countrywide or whatever. They get caught in a snowstorm, they get caught wherever, and you see these things on the news every once in a while, where all of a sudden a freak snowstorm blows in, and are you prepared for that? Do you have a change of clothes? If you're coming home from work, do you have a different pair of shoes in the car? Maybe a pair of boots or something. If you're in high heels or in loafers and there's a foot of snow on the ground, you're going to have an issue. Your feet are going to be soaking wet, or you're going to ruin your shoes or whatever. Or you could break an ankle if you're in high heels or whatever. So just have whatever you need in there. Have some extra warmer clothes during the winter. Just something you can throw on. Maybe it's a heavy jacket. Maybe you have an extra pair of gloves in there. Maybe you have a scarf in there. Maybe you have earmuffs in there. Who knows? It's all up to you guys. It's your personal preference. Do you have some extra water? Do you have extra food? Do you have a way to change a tire? Do you have a way to signal for help? And basically, you don't need road flares. You can go to the dollar store and get these little cheap little glow sticks. You pop them off, shake them up really good, and then basically you can wave at somebody if you don't have a flashlight, and when they get their attention, they're going to see that glowing light, especially if your car is completely dark. It might be a way to signal somebody, and maybe you can get a ride that way back to where you're going or somewhere else that's safer. But just think of your car as a toolkit, essentially. If something were to happen, put yourself in this scenario, and I'll talk about this in a few minutes. You're on the road somewhere. You might be a mile from home. You might be 100 miles from home or 1,000 miles from home. Who knows? Your car breaks down. You're in the middle of nowhere. And this happens a lot out here because there's a lot of middle of nowheres out here in Texas. But you're caught in the middle of nowhere. And let's say something crazy happens like an EMP or something else worse. I don't want to get into it, but something's happened. Your vehicle's inoperative. Now you have to make a choice. Is it safe to stay where you are, or do you need to move? And if you do need to move, what do you need? Or do you have a way of getting more of what you need? Be it food, be it water, be it batteries, be it whatever, clothes. Maybe you forgot to pack an extra change of clothes, and you're in shorts and a t-shirt, and it's 80 degrees out, it's beautiful, and then it drops down to the 40s and you're freezing your yang off. You know what I mean? So just be prepared for those kinds of things. It doesn't take much room just to pack a shirt with a long sleeve, or an extra jacket, or a pair of sweatpants even. Just roll them up, put them in a Ziploc bag, put them in, wherever. You can even put them in where your spare tire goes. But have a flashlight. If you're going to have a flashlight that takes batteries, have some extra batteries. Understand, in a car, the batteries are going to go quickly. They're going to die within a couple, 3 or 4 months, because it gets hot or it gets cold or whatever. It just draws the energy right out of the batteries. Have a first aid kit. Let's say you happen upon some kind of accident, and if you're willing to and able, you can go help somebody. Maybe they've got a gash or something, and if you have some kind of gauze and you can basically put pressure on that wound, maybe you can help them until the police or the ambulance shows up. Fire extinguisher. Carry a fire extinguisher. I don't know how many times I've seen cars on fire out here in Texas. Um, but if you have to get out of the car and there's a fire and you're stuck, you can't get out, you need to be able to kind of contain that fire until you're able to figure out a way out or have somebody else help you get out. Just all things that you should have, like toolkits. Maybe you get stuck out somewhere and you need a tool to make something. Maybe you need to make some kind of shelter. Do you have tape in your car? Do you have rope in your car? Do you have a knife? Do you have good hiking boots? And talking about my area, because we're not rural, but we're once you drive out of this area, it does get rural, and it's basically you just have farms or forest or whatever. So just think about what's in your car or your vehicle. What do you have in there that if you had to spend the night, you could do it, or multiple nights, or if you had to walk home from wherever your location is, could you do it? Do you have comfortable walking shoes? Do you have comfortable clothes? Do you really want to wear a business suit walking 100 miles or 50 miles or 20 miles or even a mile? How comfortable are those dress shoes? Just think about all these things. Plus, you might need protection and stuff like that if you're going to be walking all the way home. Speaking of home, what do you have at your house? Let's just say the worst happens and war occurs and you're stuck in your house. You can't leave because it's not safe to. Do you have a day's worth, a week's worth, a month's worth, a couple months worth, a year's worth of food, water, and other things that you need to basically survive? You need probably candles and flashlights, a way to cook, a way to clean, just all these other things. If you think about it, you really need to have this kind of stuff at home. Have some extra cleaner, have some extra candles on hand, have some extra lighters. If you have a barbecue, get an extra propane tank that you don't ever use. And then you can at least cook, because it's not going to be safe to cook inside a house if it's there's no power, there's no airflow. You could basically poison yourself. But just think about these things. How much water do you have? They say the average person needs 2 gallons per person per day. I don't think that's even close to being enough. I mean, I can drink a gallon of water in a couple, 3 or 4 hours. If I needed to wash something, even if I'm conserving water and I'm filling up a tub, it's going to take a gallon of water just to fill up, like a wash basin. Or the sink would probably take about 5 or 6 gallons, because we have a big farm sink. But if you think about this, how are you going to cook? How are you going to clean? Do you have heat? If it's winter, during the summer, it's 100 and something odd degrees out right now. It's been 100 some odd degrees for the last, I don't know, I think they said 16 days, and we're facing 3 or 4 more days of this. It's been the warmest July and going into August ever here in my area. What happens if the power goes out? How are you going to keep your food cool? What if the power doesn't come on within a couple hours? What if it takes a day? What if it takes 2 days? What if it takes a week? Maybe something really bad happened. Maybe lightning or something or tornado tore through and took out the power plant. It's severely damaged. It's going to take them a week to repair it. Can you live without electricity for that long? What if, like I said before, what if the worst happens and there's no power? There's no running water. What are you going to do? You have to think about these things. What are you going to do? And I hate the word prepared. What are you going to do to make sure that you and your family are comfortable? Maybe not happy, but comfortable at least, to get through these situations. So let me finish with this. So I'm going to talk about a situation, because this is my situation. Like I said, I drive for work. I drive between 20 miles and almost 400, 500 miles a night, usually during the week and weekends. When I'm not working, Amanda and I, because you guys know that we're paranormal investigators, we're cruising around all over the place looking for new locations to investigate for ghosts or Bigfoot or UFOs or whatever. Um, don't want to get into that. If you want to go over to our Deep Woods Paranormal podcast, you're welcome to go there, or go check out our YouTube channel. You can see our investigations. But my scenario, this is my scenario, so that you guys can kind of follow along. I get in my car, I drive about a half an hour away. I leave my go bag there, but I do have an EDC bag that I carry that's almost the same as my go bag, but it doesn't nearly have as much stuff. So the whole idea with my go bag, I mean my get home bag, and my EDC bag is, if I'm out, let's say I'm 200 miles away from my car and I have to get back there, I have a map. I have a paper map, I have a compass, and I have other things in my bag in case my phone doesn't work. I have no GPS. So I'm gonna have to look at landmarks and try and figure out, okay, I'm on this road. I need to take this road, that freeway, and maybe I want to cut through this section of forest and whatever else to get back to my car. And this is assuming there's no power. There's no power in the car. The car is completely conked out, or whatever I'm driving is conked out. There's no power. My cell phone went dead. I wasn't able to get a signal out. Maybe something's emergencies happened in the area or whatever, and there's no cell phone service. I can't seem to text anybody. So I'm on my own. Besides the people I transport, I would have to figure out what they wanted to do. Would they just go the other way? I'd probably go my own way. I would want to get back to my car at that point, and I would let them choose what they want to try and do, whether they want to come back to my car with me and see if it works. And from there, I might just bring them all the way home with me because I'm only a half an hour from where I park. So let's talk about this. 200 miles. Now, the average person walks a mile within 10 to 15 minutes, let's just say 20 minutes on average. I'm not saying I could, if I went out and walked, I could probably walk an 8 or 9 minute mile. But if I'm walking multiple miles, I'm not going to be walking that fast. I'm going to be kind of going slow, maybe stopping here a lot, actually, probably stopping, looking around, making sure I know where I'm going. And essentially, I'm going to be looking for hazards. Are there threats? Are there other people out there, maybe that are armed, that are robbing people because of the emergency situation? Are there people out there that are just frantic and don't know what to do, and so they're clinging to anybody to get help? And of course, I would try and help that person as best I could. Are there wild animals? We have pigs, we have deer, we have coyotes, we have almost everything. And supposedly there's wolves out here too. I've actually seen a couple of them. So I don't think our area of Texas doesn't have any bears anymore, but those hogs are they're bad. I mean, they have tusks. They have these teeth that stick out the side of their mouths. They're just like razor blades, and they're dirty because they're digging in the ground with them all the time. So they're full of bacteria. So if you get slashed, if you're lucky enough to only get slashed by one of these things, if you're attacked, you have to have a way to take care of that. Again, EDC, I carry a small first aid kit with me. I don't have a huge one. In my car, I have a very heavy duty EDC bag, mainly for trauma. That somebody got shot, somebody had a huge gash, whatever, and we'll get into that. And another time we'll look at the first aid kits. That's always the last thing everybody wants to look at, but essentially it's a heavy duty kit, and I'm not going to carry that with me in the car. In my work vehicles, there are first aid kits in some of the cars, but nothing like mine. Mine pertains basically to me. I have an extra inhaler. I have extra parts for my hearing aids. I have anything and everything, allergy pills, Imodium, and all that good stuff. Anything that you might need. You eat something that doesn't agree with you, you're going to be pretty upset if your stomach's upset and you're trying to walk 200 miles home. You're probably not going to make it very far. So, all right. So the scenario is I'm 200 miles away from home. For some reason or other, the car has either run out of gas, there's some kind of emergency situation, maybe there's a fire, maybe somebody's, basically run me off the road. Um, for some reason, the vehicle is inoperative. I have no way to call out, and there's nobody around because I drive at night a lot of times. So out here, it's pitch black. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And I can't get a hold of anybody. I can't get any help. If it's an emergency situation, everybody's going to be fending for themselves. And I may just basically be, SOL. And I might have to just fend for myself as well. And I've got to get home. Now, like I was saying before, the average person walks between an 8 and 10-minute mile. And that's the person that's, maybe not totally fit. And I'm not talking about running or jogging. I'm just talking about a normal brisk pace if you were just walking around track or whatever. So I'm going to up that to 20 minutes because I'm looking at 200 miles. So essentially, it's going to take me, 400 hours? Is my math wrong? No, it's about right. So 20 minutes times 200 miles, that's about 40 hours. 40, no, more than that. So if I'm doing 20 divided by 200, no, it's about 10 hours. If I was doing 20 miles a day, I could probably get there in about 10 hours. Let me just do the math here real quick. I don't think I'm right here. So 200 divided by 20. Yeah, it's about 10 hours. So, but let's say I can't just continually walk that whole time. I might be able to walk for 3 or 4 hours, and then I might have to stop. I might have to find a place to hunker down for the night, either with other people or maybe in the woods somewhere, or maybe I'm just going to stay with the vehicle and sleep there if it's not in a ditch or it's not in a place that isn't safe. And then I might, depending on what time that is, I might take a nap and then maybe start to walk home after that. Let things kind of settle down, let people kind of get over whatever's going on and kind of get back into control, because there's going to be a lot of panic and chaos in the first little while. So I'm walking home. I know I have about at least a 10-hour walk, if not more, just to get back to my car. And like I said, I may or may not have people with me. What's in my bag, what's on my person that will allow me to set up a shelter, maybe for the night, or set up, maybe sneak into somewhere, or, get water, get food. I always carry a tiny bit of cash with me. I usually carry between 20 and 40 bucks with me, just because if I need to walk into a convenience store and grab a snack, I can do it if my card doesn't work. So that's another thing. With the power being out, there won't be any way to use your credit card. You'll need some kind of other form of payment for the services or the products you're trying to buy. So think of it this way. Okay, so you have no credit card, no debit card. All you have is either cash, or you have to trade something with that person, whether it be a really nice watch or something else that you have on your person that you can trade for that good or service. And so you're walking. Maybe you walk 3 or 4 miles, and then you come across, people shooting at each other. And you have to basically duck it out into the woods. Now you got to figure out where you're at. So you have to be able to know how to navigate too. It's very important. Or maybe once you've run into the woods and you don't hear anything else, then you maybe kind of sneak back out, take a peek, look and make sure it's okay to keep going. Maybe you cruise, maybe they're done with that area. Hopefully they've cleared out of that area. And So you're continually walking towards home. And like I said, you have to know where you're going. If it's 200 miles, you're probably going to cover maybe a couple freeways or more. More than likely, you're going to have to know service streets. That's the thing that I'm trying to learn out here. So just think about all that. You have to be able to feed yourself, or at least have some kind of snack, maybe an MRE, maybe put an MRE in there, maybe you cut a couple of Mountain House meals in there. But if you're going to do that, you still need a way to boil some water for Mountain House to pour in to, make that powdery substance become a meal. With with any kind of emergency situation, having a little fire, maybe not a huge bonfire, but just a small little fire that you can heat things up with, or just to have it on, going, will be a huge morale booster. So me personally, walking home, if I had to walk home, I would want to make sure I have really comfortable shoes on. I always now wear jeans, even though it's 100 and some odd degrees. I wear a shirt like this. This is moisture wicking and dries quickly. Has long sleeves, so I can roll the sleeves down and essentially be warm at night if I need to. I carry a light jacket with me because it's the summer, and it doesn't get below about 80 degrees, mid 70s, low 80s out here at night right now. And and I'd want to walk in the coolest part of the night, and then somehow during the day I have to find a way to keep myself cool, keep myself hydrated, and then essentially just try and figure out my way home. And the route that you think that you came up may not be the safest route home. So you have to be able to navigate. I'd have to be able to navigate different freeways, different areas. Maybe I cut through a farmer's land because it's an emergency situation. Hopefully they won't be shooting at me, and hopefully they'll understand I'm just trying to go home. And you would hope they give you the opportunity to say, hey, listen, I don't mean any harm. I just need to cross your pasture and see if I can get to that other road. I'm sure most people probably will be hopefully reasonable, but that's another thing you have to plan for. How are people going to react? Are they going to be hostile? Are they going to be friendly? Are they going to be in need of help or advice? Are you prepared to lead if you need to? Do you know how to start a fire with a ferro rod? Do you know how to start a fire with just 2 sticks or a couple rocks or whatever? So these are all things you guys, this is my situation. Basically, I'm trying to get home. Once I get to my car, at that point, if the car does actually open, if it still has power, then basically I might switch from my EDC bag to hopefully having the car work and hopefully driving home. But essentially, like I said, if I'm at work, I would essentially, if I couldn't get the car work, there was no power for whatever reason, I would grab my get home bag out of there, probably load it up with the things I felt like I needed to carry with me, and start heading home. I'd probably drink. I have water in my car. I have several bottles of water that I rotate out every couple months, just because you're not supposed to leave them in the hot heat. And basically, if I can't drink it, I use it to water the plants. So these are all things to think about. Now, I've not covered everything. This is just a scenario, and these are just basics. I'm not getting into heavily duty into these things. So if you're a survivalist, you're a prepper or whatever, you might be going, oh, but you didn't talk about this. You didn't talk about that. We'll get into that. I just want to take this slow right now with everything going on in the world. I want to make sure that people are, just kind of taking this slow so people kind of digest what I'm talking about and hopefully relate and kind of say, okay, yeah, well, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense. I like your idea with this, or I like your idea with that. And as I've said on all of our podcasts, if you have an idea, you see something missing from a kit or whatever, you have a recommendation, or you have a scenario that you could basically share with us. Maybe you've been in a survival situation where you've had to get out of somewhere that maybe it was hostile, or there was an earthquake or a fire or whatever. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to have you come on our podcast and talk about it. We'd love to hear your story. And as I always say on the other podcast, there's no judgment here. These are just ideas. This is just the things that, I'm doing, that I'm sharing with you. And, it's always nice to have people share back. So anyways, you guys be safe out there, and we'll talk to you later.